Welcome back to the Practice Success Podcast, powered by Canopy. In this episode, we learn from Elizabeth Manso, president and founder of Brigade. She shares how her firm bravely embraced technological transformation and the importance of prioritizing relationship building and client engagement along the way. Discover the strategies that allowed her team to successfully implement remote work practices, all while maintaining a robust team dynamic. This episode contains a trove of insights for firms navigating the digital landscape. So tune in for an enlightening discussion with Elizabeth. Welcome to an episode of Canopy Practice Success. I am Casey Brothers with Canopy, and I am accompanied today by Elizabeth Manso. Elizabeth, would you like to give yourself an introduction?
Sure. My name is Elizabeth Manso. I am a CPA, and I own my own 100% CAS firm in Miami. We're a team of 13, and we help our small business clients every day with their bookkeeping and accounting and a touch of advisory.
Nice. So tell me more about, you said a touch of advisory, mentioned some bookkeeping. Tell us a little bit about the evolution of your firm through the services that you've provided.
Sure. First of all, our firm is 15 years old. So I've been in the sexy CAS space for a very long time, ever since it wasn't sexy.
What was it before it was sexy?
It was boring. It was clunky. It was inefficient.
Okay. I was gonna say scary.
It was very manual. It was very scary.
Okay.
Very, very scary. So now it's beautiful and it's well oiled. Yeah. Yes, and I was very frustrated for many years when we first started the firm, and it's just now a lot easier because of technology.
What about technology either helped you identify your move, transition, refocus, whatever you want to call that there, or made it easier of just becoming more CAS central?
Right, exactly. So the main thing that the main hurdle that we had to overcome was the actual tech stack that we used. We were using a variety, whether it's QuickBooks Desktop, whether it was, some online, whether it's Xero, we had a whole myriad of technology accounting platforms that we utilized. So we had to make a decision. And we had to, create the tech stack and, what exactly are we going to use? Yeah. So we got that all ironed out. And now when clients come, of course, they have a very broken system. So it's almost like, don't worry, we'll get you from this system to this system.
Talking about your clients?
Yes, talking about the clients. Okay. So we've actually, we know exactly, and it's kind of like a plug and play system for them, with a whole myriad again of, accounts payable, accounts receivable, the accounting platform is all online. It's all on the cloud. It's all integrated with each other. So that way it's much easier. Granted, when clients come, again, they come from a very broken bookkeeping system, and we basically tell them what it's going to be.
So are you telling them to switch over?
Oh, 100%. Okay. 100%. And the way I tell them, it's like, look, you're coming to me for a solution. I've got the solution, and this is our solution. Yeah. And I'll tell you, they might hesitate for a second.
That's not long.
That's not long. And then of course I say, are you open to it? And they're at the point where they're like, yes, I have no alternative. Yes, because what I'm doing right now is not working. Yeah. So I said, no problem. This is what's going to work, and this is how we work. And they're like, that's fine. Like, the pushback is very minimal for me. Again, the thing is, over the last 15 years, and I tell them, I'm like, over the last 15 years, we've gone through trials of almost every application for small businesses. Our clients the revenue range are anywhere from $1 million to $15 million. So we do service the smaller business. So we've tested out a lot of applications, and we know what works for them. And we tell them, it's like, look, this is what works now. If down the line we find something that's better for you, we will use it, and we'll add it to our tech stack and replace something, because that's one main thing, is that we don't want to have a million applications. No. We want to make sure everything makes sense for our clients and is centralized, and we actually minimize the amount of applications. They love it. I mean, I've had client, I mean, we've transformed our clients' accounting, like, just I've seen it night and day, like many, many, many times over. And that's why I am so confident. And I tell them, I'm like, look, I've done this thousands of times. Yeah. I will never lead you astray the wrong way. I'll always lead you on the right path that's right for you. If something happens and something doesn't work, it's okay. I'll tell you, look, like, this is not working, and so we'll try something else. Yeah. So it's almost like we're not like we have our standard tech stack, but if I do leave some wiggle room in there just in case our client isn't happy, or we find something better. We do have wiggle room.
Well, and what has this done for you and your firm? Saying like, hey, this is the tech stack we're going with. We're not gonna, maybe I've heard of, firms saying we only take QBO clients. We're not taking zero clients.
Yes. Yes.
What does that do for the people working in the firm?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, they've become experts. They've become, experts in certain platforms. They've seen it all. They're able to troubleshoot it. We've developed relationships with our vendor partner, with our app partners. And so if there is a problem, the first thing we do is reach out to our partners,
our app partners, or
relationships. And if there's an anomaly, we'll reach out to our partner, and they'll solve it for us. Yeah. It's funny because over the last 15 years, I finally feel like we have a voice. And even though we're not the biggest CAS shop out there, we've developed great relationships with our partners, and so we get things done for our clients, and our app partners actually listen to us and make changes. Yeah. Because they know if they don't, and we complain, we end up, trying to give them a lot of feedback, and they don't do anything, we will leave. Yeah. So they know that. And I guess we're not big, but, I guess we have an impact.
Well, and I heard this recently with how big AI ChatGPT has gotten recently. Yeah. Went to a seminar where this individual talked about these different economies, and I hope I can get this right. Okay. But you talked about, with the Industrial Revolution before that, like, economy is all based on, like, your differentiator was how strong you are physically, what you can physically do with your body. Then the Industrial Revolution came and it became more what could you do with your brain? How knowledgeable were you? He's like, and now he's like, I think we're seeing the beginning of a new economy, and that being the relationship economy. And I just loved that, because not only is this so huge in regards to what you were just saying with partners and softwares that you're working with, but also in the firm, and then also with your clients.
So I do want to add a little color to that. So when I was 16 years old, I come from a customer service background. I worked retail. I worked at a bank as a teller. So my first experience with customers was in the customer service realm. So so when I became an accountant, I realized a lot of my peers in the accounting firm that I worked at before having my company, they were scared of picking up the phone. They just wanted to send an email. Yeah. And I was the one that's picking up the phone and say, hey, look, this is our situation. This is what we need to do. Can you help me help you? And they're like, oh, absolutely. And they would help. So to me, it was never, so I've integrated customer service since the beginning of my company 15 years ago. And that's how I've also trained my team. I'm like, gone are the days where I ask my team members, hey, what's the status of this? Why aren't the financials done? Gone are the days is, oh, I'm waiting on the client to respond, because they know for me that's unacceptable. Yeah. Why haven't you called the client? Everyone's very used to, for a very long time now, to have that relationship with the client. I said, look, the only we do great work. Anybody can do great work. Yeah. But how do you become sticky? You reach out to the client. And the reason why we are so tech heavy is so we can have more face-to-face with the client.
You will live and die on your ability to create a relationship. And the AI, and start bringing this back to what brought that conversation about, AI isn't going to displace accountants. But what will is the ability to nourish and cater to humans. And to still, be able to see what it is, like you were saying, guide them down the path that is right for the business. We have done this. We've vetted all of these softwares. We know how we can deliver the most extraordinary service to you, and this is how we're going to provide it to you. Is this how you would like to engage with us and creating that relationship? I'd like to also hear about how you've fostered that sense of relationship internally within your firm. What have you done there?
Well, at the end of the day, I tell my team, look, we're all human.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to like the customer service part of what we do. So I always tell them, like, we've got to stay on top of our clients. We've got to, make sure to call them, text them, email them, have face-to-face. It's just a matter of, I don't want to say this, but like drilling it into them.
Oh yeah, you need to build the muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. And again, we are a team of bookkeepers, accountants. I'm a CPA, so it's not really ingrained in us. So it's just kind of like, showing them the way, showing them, what needs to be done. We role play. We role play quite a bit. I say, look, it's not you doing the talking, it's you asking the questions. Yeah. So that's
and doing
all
the
it
listening.
is.
Yeah.
All you have to do is listen, because they're like, oh, but what if I don't know what to say? I'm like, you ask a question. I said, okay, let's say, ask the person you're talking to, our client, like, what are your goals for 2023? And guess what? They're going to talk nonstop. So we have monthly meetings with our clients. I said, the financials, yes, you might have them on the agenda. You may not get to the financials. It doesn't matter. You can send them later. Yeah. Ask them questions, ask them about their goals, ask them how we can help them achieve their goals, and see what they say. And 9 times out of 10, they're gonna, give you some little specks of ways that we can help. And that would be an advisory service. And then that's where I'm saying we sprinkle in advisory, because it depends on what our clients want. Obviously, we can tell them, look, we can do cash flow management, we can do forecasting, we can do budgeting. We can help you, find areas where you can save money. Like, we can do all that. And it's a matter of, like, I want to make sure that they will find value in it. So I want to hear what their needs are first.
So do you have an onboarding process in that regard of like how you take in a new client and set up that? I mean, are they used to that? Are new clients used to interacting with an accountant the way that you're wanting to interact with them?
So I'm going to go back to our onboarding specialist.
Yes.
We do. So we found out long ago, again, so I've had my company for 15 years. After year 10, I'm like, oh, okay, I think I got the hang of this. So it took me a little while to get the hang of it. So the last 5 years has been really fun. And I've realized that the biggest bottleneck that we've had is the onboarding process. Whenever we bring in a new client, what happens is it would go directly to like a bookkeeper, an accountant, and that would bog down their workload, and they slow down and they don't meet their deadlines. So that was an issue that we addressed, I want to say 2 years ago, when we created the onboarding specialist role. And that's been a total game changer. And as I bring in new clients, I tell them, like, look, you're going to have the first 4 weeks with our onboarding specialist. And with that, you'll provide us with access. We'll migrate your software to our preferred online platform. We'll get you hooked up to all the accounts payable apps, the accounts receivable apps. We'll get all of that in the first 4 weeks. And our onboarding specialist is like, she's a machine. She's amazing. She's wonderful. And she's not an accountant. She's not an accountant. She's not a bookkeeper. She used to work as an office manager for one of our clients who ended up selling their business. So she needed a job, and she reached out to me, and we found a role for her. Yeah. And she loves it. She loves it. So I think that's been a huge game changer. And when it goes from the onboarding specialist to the accounting team, it's beautiful. And they can pick up that ball and run with it. And there's no hesitation on their behalf. They could just, like, again, hit the ground running and get the books done as soon as possible. So we do explain that to our new client.
Yeah. I love that. I love that there's a process there. it's already so expensive to get a new client. Like customer acquisition costs are highest with new as opposed to retention. But then just providing that experience for them is wonderful.
And I tend to reach out to, our new client. I'm like, how's it going? How's Deanna treating you? And they're like, oh my God, she's so great. I'm like, I know, right? And I always say, look, if you have any problems, you have my cell phone. And all of our clients have my cell phone number. My phone never rings. It's amazing. I love to hear from them, but I like it also when they're well taken care of by my team.
Yeah. So what do you feel like you've done to really you've said in the last 5 years that it's become a well-oiled machine. It sounds like your clients know what to do, your employees are happy, you are happy. Is there one or two things that you would say like really made the difference there and tipped you into that point of just feeling well-oiled? Or is it just too many little things?
Well, I'll tell you, in 2018, I created a vision, like a vision board of what I wanted my company to be. Real-time accounting, there's a process in place. There's, everything has like a checklist. Like I had like this really incredible vision and I presented it to my team in 2018 and they laughed in my face. They were like, yeah, right, Ellie, like in what realm do you think this is going to happen? This, and we were working remote. Like I had this entire vision. So what ended up happening March of 2020 when the pandemic hit and they're like, oh my gosh, Ellie, what are we going to do? I don't know. Ellie was sitting back.
You whipped out
Ellie was sitting back with a grin on her face and said, I know exactly what we're going to do.
Remember that plan?
And I whipped out that plan and they're like, I'm like, that's what we're going to do. And we did it. And they were just like, oh my gosh, it only took us 2 months to implement everything that you want. And I said, I know. But the resistance went down, the walls came down, and we did what I wanted to do. And that was the game changer.
Awesome. And you're fully remote, right?
100%.
What advantages, positives have come from working fully remote?
Number one, our team is really happy. Productivity has spiked. So we track our productivity, and that spiked. Our team is happy. They can work from anywhere in this world. Right now, I have someone in Moldova. She's working there for 2 months. She's visiting her family. She goes every year for 2 months, and she's
Doesn't
happy.
skip a beat.
Doesn't skip a beat. Her hours may change a little bit, and she's happy. So we also have unlimited PTO. So we have to force people to take vacation. Because it's like we're making everything so easy. We're deadline driven, so they know exactly what needs to be done. I don't care if they do it at midnight. I don't care what time of the day they do it, as long as they hit the deadline. Our clients know, and I don't know. It's just there's so many benefits. The drawback will have to be that we don't have the personal touch every day. That's why we have to like make it a point to have team building every couple of months, every quarter. My directors, we have 3 directors, including myself, meet with our local Miami-based team for mentoring lunches. And we take a good 2 hours, 3 hours of lunchtime to get, a temperature on our team. We do have a team out in Serbia. We have one person out in Serbia. We have a team in the Philippines as well. So we do take the time to meet with them on a quarterly basis, at least, to get their feedback. How are they? How are they liking their job? Where do they see themselves at the company, in the next year or so? We really listen to them and we make changes. Yeah, we have a team member that wants to manage people. So I'm like, we've got to get them to the point that they're managing people.
Yeah, I love it. It's not, there's intentionality. You've mentioned it in 2 areas, I feel like. Intentionality with defining what the firm was going to be, what you were going to work on, and then intentionality with, adapting to a remote hybrid workforce and ensuring to engage your employees. They're your most valuable asset.
100%. And and I don't know. So as far as recruiting goes, we also recruit differently.
Okay, yeah.
So
well, you're not limited to Florida.
Not
So
limited to Florida,
Yeah.
correct. But we have our team find people for us.
Yeah.
We reward them, we compensate them, obviously. We compensate them well. And they are in charge of finding people to work with us. So yeah, that's also, again, they're gonna refer people to the firm. Number one, that means they're happy because they want, someone that they know and trust to join the firm. It'll be a better culture fit because you kind of, birds of a feather. So, we've grown through, and I've contacted clients. Hey, we're looking for another senior accountant. Do you know anybody? We've gotten great employee referrals from clients because they're like, oh, you're growing. Oh, I think I know someone, someone that you can talk to, and we've also grown that way. So gone are the days that I hire a recruiter. Gone are the days that I post, the job on Indeed or anything. It's all homegrown.
I love that. Well done, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Thank you
you.
again.
Having some fun.